Hezbollah posted drone footage on Telegram of their FPV drones flying straight into Israeli Merkava tanks in southern Lebanon.
In southern Lebanon, Hezbollah has stepped up its attacks on Israeli defense forces. The group is targeting Israel's armored tanks with precision-guided missiles and now FPV drone capable of striking weak points.
They did this 4 times in a single day, hitting 2 Neymar armored personnel carriers and a Humvee in the town of Biada. None of those vehicles had anti-drone cage armor fitted. In Gaza, Israeli tanks rolled in with exactly that protection because the IDF knew the threat existed. In Lebanon, the same tanks went in without it, and Hezbollah went straight for the gap. That footage is the visual headline. But the ground fighting in southern Lebanon over the past week is the story people are not paying enough attention to while the Iran war dominates the news cycle. On March 27th, the same day that FPV drone footage was dropping on Telegram, Hezbollah fired 2 anti-tank missiles at an Israeli Merkava tank in the eastern sector. The tank's trophy active protection system caught the first missile. The second one got through, killing 21-year-old SGT Aviv Elchanan Volansky of the 7th Armored Brigade from Jerusalem and wounding 4 of his crewmates. 3 days later, on March 30th, 4 more IDF soldiers were killed in a single engagement in southern Lebanon, the deadliest single incident for Israeli ground forces since the Lebanon operation began. The week after that, Israeli parents of soldiers in the Nahal Brigade's reconnaissance battalion sent a public letter to Netanyahu saying the risk to their sons is, in their words, extremely unreasonable, and asking him to reconsider the deployment. When parents of serving soldiers go public like that, it tells you the pressure building inside Israel, around Lebanon, is not being fully captured in the official statements coming out of Tel Aviv.
מאוד מסוכן, אין בעיה, אבל עדיין, יש בפנים, יש גם נראה את הסביב. כן, אתה מבין? רואים. יותר מה אתה רוצה?
חבר'ה, קדימה, חבר'ה, כל מי שאין לו מה להיות פה, בבקשה, לצאת עד שתהיה בדיקה. תקשיבו, חבר'ה, זה זירה מאוד 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 מסוכנת.
Ten IDF soldiers have now been killed in Lebanon since the ground operation began, with dozens more wounded. Hezbollah is not just firing rockets from a distance. They are engaging Israeli armored columns in close terrain, hitting tanks with guided missiles from small cells that strike and vanish. Sending FPV drones after vehicles the trophy system was not designed to intercept, and simultaneously launching rocket barrages at northern Israeli cities. Around 150 rockets were fired from Lebanon toward communities in the Galilee in a single day during Passover alone, the highest single-day count since fighting began. A rocket hit a house in Kiryat Shmona. A kindergarten in Nahariya was struck. Shrapnel fell near Haifa port. A building in the Druze community of Shfarim, east of Haifa, was hit overnight. The FPV drone is worth understanding properly because it changes the cost calculation for armored warfare in a way that has not been seen in the Middle East before. These are not sophisticated weapons. They are cheap quadcopters, the same technology used in drone racing, with a warhead attached and a fiber optic cable back to the operator so that electronic jamming is completely useless against them. The operator wears a headset, sees exactly what the drone sees, and flies it manually at high speed into the target. In Ukraine, drones like these have been responsible for up to 80% of casualties across the front lines. They have now arrived in Lebanon as a standard Hezbollah tactic, and the Merkavas and Neymars being hit did not have the improvised cage armor that other vehicles in other theaters had specifically to stop this. Hezbollah noticed that before they started shooting, the footage they published on Telegram is not just combat video. It is a message to the Israeli public that their soldiers are operating in armor that is exposed. Israel is hitting back hard. The IDF killed Haj Yusuf Ismail Hashem, the commander of Hezbollah's entire southern front, in a naval strike on Beirut this week. He was a 40-year veteran of the organization who had personally overseen Hezbollah's Bala reconstruction after the losses of 2024 and was directing rocket and drone attacks from that position. The same week, Israeli fighter jets killed around 15 Hezbollah fighters in southern Lebanon who had been spotted preparing to fire anti-tank missiles at IDF positions. The IDF says it has struck over 3,500 targets and killed approximately 1,000 Hezbollah fighters since the ground operation began. It struck bridges in the southern Bekaa Valley to cut off Hezbollah reinforcement routes. It has been demolishing houses along the border that it says Hezbollah was using as anti-tank firing positions and observation posts under a direct order from Defense Minister Katz, who publicly called for following what he described as the Rafah and Beit Hanun model from Gaza. But Hezbollah's own Secretary General Naim Qassam said something telling publicly. He said Hezbollah knows it cannot stop Israel from reaching the Litani River. He was not claiming victory on the battlefield. What he said was that the goal is to make the advance as costly as possible. And looking at what has happened on the ground, 2 soldiers killed in one day, 4 killed in a single engagement 3 days later, 10 total killed in just over a month, tank after tank hit on camera and published for the world to see. It is hard to argue that strategy is not working. Lebanon's Prime Minister said this week he sees no end in sight to the fighting. The IDF said disarming Hezbollah without occupying all of Lebanon is not a realistic goal, then immediately walked that back. That contradiction sitting at the center of the operation is the thing Hezbollah is betting on, and right now they appear to be winning that specific bet.